Hello, everyone. It's July the 11th. Like I said, I would be back. Hi. Again, you know who I am. My name is Miss Luana. Some people call me Miss Lou, but I am Miss Luana, and I have a YouTube page called Miss Luana Real Talk. But lately, I've been coming on TikTok, and then I go to TikTok, then I go to YouTube, then I'll go to Facebook because I know people in every area. So, nevertheless, this is July 11th. July 11th means a lot to me. You know, a lot of days mean a lot to me, but this is one of the special days, July 11th. My mother was born, Luella Coward. I'll start with that. I guess it'll be like 2 segments if I could get it in. Well, anyway, July 11th, 1921, my mother, Miss Luella Coward, was born. And she was born in Elko, Louisiana. Her mother was named Luana Jewelry. That's where I got my name from, and I'm so honored to carry that name. And so now, wait a minute, hold on 1 second. All right, I'm back. The delivery man was delivering something here. But nevertheless, my mother was Luella Coward. She married my father at a very, very young age. I think it was 15. She stayed with him all her life. Yes, she did. My mother had a fruitful life. She passed away on the 15th day of September 2017. That was 2 months after I gave her one of the biggest parties in Duquesne City. And I closed off the street. I had tents. Like I said in my thing the other day, we had family from Virginia, Georgia, Detroit, family nearby. Everybody was there, filled up the street. I did that for several years, but that was my last time on South 2nd Street giving a big event. My mother told me, "Oh, Anna, that's okay. Don't give me an event." But funny thing about my mother, every year, and anybody know my mom real close know that she remind you when July come. Oh, my birthday is July 11th. So I'm so happy that I gave my mother that party. It was 2 months before she got her wings. I gave it on the 15th day of July of 2017 simply because that was a weekend. Okay? And I need to say, my mother didn't want me to do it, but I'm so grateful that I went on and did it. I want to go back some. In 1988, I was expecting my second son. That would be James Philip Jones. I know I lived on 2nd Street, three houses up from my mother, next to a white church. I had a beautiful yard. It was huge, and so I fixed up my yard like a luau. And person, built a bar for me with the roof on top. I had everything set up so nice. It was a surprise party for my mother. I gave that couple days before her birthday simply because I was expecting my second son, and my instinct told me do it then because when July 11th come I would be in the hospital, and indeed I was. I birthed my second son, James Philip Jones, on my mother's birthday, July 11th, 1988. Well, my mother, she came, I'm going back and forth, so stay with me. My mother came to Pennsylvania in the early 40s. She came, my father came up here to Pennsylvania, and he joined the United States Steel Mill, and that's where they stayed for the rest of their life, in Pennsylvania. My mother, like I said, she told her mother, after having 4 boys, she said, if I ever have a girl, momma, that's what she said, I'm going to name her after you. So that's where I got my name from, folks. So, and I'm honored to have that name, So anyway, like I said, my mother, I do want to share this. On September the 14th, I know my mother had started declining really rapidly after her birthday. And anyway, the last thing my mother told me in clear voice, I was changing her, and I turned her this side, turned her that side. As I walked away to go to the dresser, she said, "Luana." I said, "What's wrong, Ma? Did I do something wrong?" She said, "No. No, she didn't even say no. She said, "You know how to do it. Do it right." And I always tried to do things right in my life, but I'm not perfect. But those words stick with me, and I go by those words. A lot of times when I do something else, I say, no, 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 I got to do it right. That's the last clear things my mother ever spoke to me. After that, it wasn't no more speaking. But like I said, she was so happy on every birthday we made her happy. But this last birthday, I just felt it in my spirit. It really meant to do it. And I mean, everybody showed up. I know when my nephew and nieces, her other grandkids came from Detroit, they came in a caravan. I'm telling you, they had all kind of little sports cars. They came down, Priscilla and all other people was there, and they was like, who is that? They all was coming to their grandma's birthday. And we had a wonderful time. She was so happy. You know, she got to see everybody that lived in Duquesne that knew her. She got to see her grandkids, her kids, and I know she was happy. And I'm so grateful that she was happy. Well, at that time, you know, Johnny and Dawn was gone, but in spirit, they probably was right there too. You know, and my cousin Ronald, his birthday was close to my mother, so we had put his name on the cake too, because he always came by to keep my mother company every single day. He walks up there to see my mom. But I'm grateful that I had my mom 96 years, you know, but I know on September the 15th, September the 14th, 2017, I did not go to tell my mother to go ahead. Everybody was telling me, tell her go, tell her go. She's suffering. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. But on the 14th day of September 2017, I went there about 7:30. See, I had my mother all the way around service. She never went by herself. I had the granddaughters and a couple other people that wasn't myself, and a couple other people that wasn't her granddaughters. We took good care of my mom. And anyway, when I went there on the 14th day of September, my daughters and I was standing at the foot of her bed, but I went over to the left side of her bed where she was facing, and I whispered, and I said, Mom, you don't have to lay here and suffer. I said, Mom, I love you. I said, Mom, you can go ahead. I said, you done taught me everything I need to know. I always love you, Mom. You can go ahead. And it wasn't 24 hours later, my mom got her wings. Before I could get back over there that day, 4 day in the morning, I got a call, and her breath was getting shallow. And when I got there, she had already got her wings. She was already in flight. And I just thank God that when she passed away, she knew that she was surrounded by her loved ones. You know, the little ones, the big ones. And I believe that's what kept her holding on a lot, too. But then after I said that to my mother, and then so quickly after that she got her wings, I thought to myself, well, maybe they were right. Maybe she was waiting on me, because if you look, Johnny and Dawn had already left this world, and she had 2 older sons, but that was 2 older sons. I'm the baby. I'm the only girl, so maybe she was thinking about me, because it wasn't even 24 hours later. When I said that to my mom, she closed the book, and she got her wings. God offered her those wings, and she flew on, and she ain't suffering no more. But I know I'll never forget her. She is the queen of my life. She was, and she always will be the queen of my life. Because without her, I wouldn't be here. And don't never forget your mom. Because without your mom, you wouldn't be here. And I thank God that my mother named me what she named. So if you think about my mom today, send her a happy heavenly birthday. My mother passed away at 96. She almost made it to 100. My father made 17 years before that. He was 93 or so. But yeah, she was 4 years light in 100. And she was a wonderful woman. Can't nobody say too much bad about my mother, because as long as I knew her, she was the same woman. She didn't turn away nobody. She might not understood a lot of things at times, all the confusion, but she tried to keep a peacemaker. And I'm so glad and I'm honored that Miss Luella Coward was my mother. She had many grandchildren and great-grandchildren. She had 4 sons and 1 daughter. And I will never forget her. Because like I said, she will always and forever be my queen. I can hear her in my spirit a lot. Heard her calling me the other night.